We are already in week 8 of the college football season, and things are continuing to heat up. We have some major playoff implication games, some rivalry games, and more. But before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me as I try to build this channel, and it would just be awesome. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with my game of the week, and that is Georgia versus Ole Miss. This game is at Sanford Stadium, and you can just feel that there is some revenge in the air after what happened last season when Ole Miss took down Georgia. And honestly, I feel like I have a pretty good read on how this one's going to go. So here's what I'm expecting. Ole Miss will probably jump out to an early lead because that's just what teams do against Georgia lately. And it's kind of like the defense needs to get punched in the mouth a couple times before they lock in. But once they figure it out, they tighten up fast. And when that switch flips, it's tough to score on them. So the big question becomes, how many points can Ole Miss score before that adjustment happens? And at what point in the game does that happen? Is it late in the first quarter? Maybe it's halftime? Because if Georgia lets the Rebels build too much of a lead early, the comeback will not be as easy as it was against Auburn. And I doubt we're going to have as bad of officiating as we did in that game either. And look, if Georgia gets forced to throw the ball a ton, then that plays right into Ole Miss's strength. That secondary is no joke. But if Georgia avoids that situation, or better yet, plays with a lead, then I really like their chances. Ole Miss runs that 3-down lineman front, and they don't have the same horses up front they did last year. That's going to let Georgia control the line of scrimmage and lean on the run game, which is where this offense feels most comfortable and where Ole Miss feels the least comfortable. Now, yes, I am a little concerned about Georgia's secondary and the lack of a pass rush that we have against that Ole Miss passing attack. Trinidad Chambliss, he could absolutely tear us apart, but I think the defense will be able to stop the bleeding, and once they do, that offense is going to wear Ole Miss down and take control late, just like they've done time and time again this season. I mean, if Washington State can move the ball against Ole Miss and stop them, then why can't Georgia? So give me the Dogs in this one. It might be not the prettiest game. It might look not like years past, but this team is hungry, and I think that hunger is going to show up between the hedges. Moving on now, it is the third Saturday in October, and you know what that means. Tennessee versus Alabama. And this time, it is at Bryant-Denny Stadium, one of the biggest rivalries in college football. Now, I've been picking against Alabama a lot this season, and honestly, I am tempted to do it again here because Tennessee might finally get a major piece back, and that's Jermod McCoy. He's suiting up for the first time all season, and that is huge. He's one of the best defensive players in the country, and his return should instantly upgrade Tennessee's defense that has been struggling, especially in the secondary. They can rush the passer, they can force takeaways, but they've been very vulnerable downfield, and against Alabama, that's a very dangerous weakness to have, so maybe McCoy can plug that hole. Offensively, though, the Vols are legit. Joey Aguilar fits perfectly into the system, fast tempo, confident decisions, and he's been very efficient. And honestly, Alabama's defense has shown cracks both through the air and on the ground, so I have no doubt that Tennessee will be able to move the ball and put up points. But here's the problem. Alabama can score too. Ty Simpson has looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year, and it doesn't matter what the down and distance is, he just finds a way to move the chains. Plus, Alabama's receiving core is loaded. They've got depth, they've got speed, they've got playmakers everywhere, and that is bad news for this Tennessee secondary that hasn't exactly been shutting people down. So the Alabama run game, they've been pretty inconsistent. We still don't know if Jim Miller will be back in this game, but even if he's not, I still expect Alabama to have success against this Tennessee defense. So yeah, I think this one could turn into a bit of a shootout. Points on both sides, big plays, momentum swings. But at the end of the day, I trust Alabama at home to get just enough stops to pull this one out and add another quality win to their playoff resume. So, Bama fans, you might want to get those cigars ready. But Tennessee, please prove me wrong. I would love to see Alabama fall in this spot, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Moving on to Notre Dame versus USC, and the implications in this game are absolutely astronomical. Last week, we watched USC absolutely thrash Michigan. They played physical up front. They ran the ball effectively against the Michigan defense that's really, really good, and Maiava was dialed in through the air. Makai Lemon, he is unguardable, just flat out like unstoppable right now. But now this is the real test. The stakes could not be higher for Notre Dame. This is it. This is the last shot they have to grab a quality win. They've already got 2 losses this season, both top 5 teams, sure, but losses are losses, and this one here would completely eliminate them from the playoff contention. Their schedule just does not give them another big stakes opportunity like this, and for USC, this could define their entire season. A win here could stamp their playoff ticket and completely change the narrative around Lincoln Riley and the entire program moving forward. And what better way to do that than knocking off your biggest rival in their own house? But will it happen? Honestly, I don't think so. Last week's win was great, but I don't think they're going to get the same result here because Notre Dame's offense is going to put up way more of a fight than Michigan did. I am a CJ Carr believer. He's been overlooked because of how the season started, but lately he's had that Irish offense rolling. And I'm probably not going to need to remind you guys about Jeremiah Love, one of the best running backs in the country. Now, Notre Dame's defense has looked a little shaky earlier in the season against Texas A&M, but we're about to find out because USC's offense will test them. Still, I think Notre Dame has to have this one, and I think they're going to get it. USC is on the right track, no doubt, but I don't think they're quite there yet to go on the road and win this kind of game, especially not in South Bend under the lights with everything on the line. Moving on now to LSU versus Vanderbilt, and believe it or not, the Commodores are actually a home favorite against the Tigers here. And honestly, it's not really hard to see why. Vandy has had a really good season so far, their only loss coming to Alabama, and this is not last year's Vanderbilt team that snuck up on people and, got these close edge-out wins. No, this team is outright beating opponents. They're physical, they've got weapons, and Diego Pavia is balling out. They're such a gritty team, and Clark Lee's doing such a good job turning this into a real contender. Meanwhile, LSU has been kind of the opposite. Their offense has been flat-out bad, and their defense has had to carry the load all season. Garrett Nussmeier has been inconsistent. The run game hasn't produced, and it's starting to really show. This game has slugfest written all over it to me. I think both defenses are going to land some punches, and whoever wins the turnover battle might win the game. Because here's the thing. Pavia loves to play hero ball. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And Nussmeier, he kind of does the same thing. Both quarterbacks have put the ball in bad spots all year long, and both teams have defenses that can capitalize on those kinds of mistakes. Now, if we're talking defenses, Blake Baker's LSU unit is no joke. I mean, if you go back to the Alabama game versus Vanderbilt and remember how Alabama was able to stop and shut down Vanderbilt in the second half, I think LSU can do that and maybe even more. Not because Vanderbilt is not a good offense. They're actually really good, but LSU's defense just hits different when they're locked in. So yeah, this is a tough one to pick. I keep waiting for LSU's offense to finally pop, to finally show us what it's capable of, and they just keep disappointing. But you know what? That's not going to stop me from believing in them one more time. Give me the Tigers in this one. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be ugly, but I think LSU finds a way to get it done in Nashville. Moving on now to Miami versus Louisville, and this is really Miami's last test of the regular season, believe it or not. And honestly, I think they're going to pass it with flying colors. They're at home, coming off of a bye week, and right now, they look like the best team in the country. Their defense is elite. They dominate the line of scrimmage. They scream off the edge, and they're absolutely going to get to Miller Moss. I mean, if Virginia can pressure them with 3, Miami is definitely going to be able to get there with the 4 that they've got. Now, sure, Louisville is scrappy. They're also coming off of a bye, and both teams will be fresh. It could be a letdown spot for the Canes. We've seen Mario Cristobal teams struggle in these kinds of games, the ones that they're supposed to win, and Louisville's offense can be very, very tricky. Chris Bell also is a real threat through the air, and Jeff Brum's creativity can throw defenses off balance. That's all true. But at the end of the day, Miami is just a better team, and I trust that they're going to win and leave no doubt in this game. We've already talked about defense, but offensively, Carson Beck has been surgical. Louisville is going to bring pressure against him, and sure, they might get to him a few times, but when they don't, those Miami receivers are going to torch that secondary. In the run game, yeah, it's going to be there too. Louisville might have a top 40 run defense, but Miami is a different kind of beast. They'll run it right through you, up the middle, on the perimeter, does not matter. I think Miami can win this game no matter what style they have to play to do it, and as much as it pains me to say, yes, Miami is for real, and I hate it. Moving on now to Washington versus Michigan. And the Wolverines are back at home this week, and they really need it after a disappointing performance at USC. They're hosting the Huskies, which means it's a bit of a road trip for Washington. And just a reminder, their only loss this season comes to Ohio State, so they've got a lot to play for, just like Michigan does. And if you go back and watch my Washington versus Ohio State preview, you'll remember what I said about their three-headed monster. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, one of the best trio in the entire country. But when they went to Columbus, they couldn't even score a touchdown. So the question is, can Michigan do the same thing? Can they keep Washington out of the end zone? Well, I honestly doubt it. I think that Michigan's defense is great, but I do think Washington's going to be able to score once, maybe twice, and get those touchdowns that they need in the red zone. And the truth is, that might be all it takes to beat Michigan because we know their offense is not exactly built to light up the scoreboard. That said, I still think this Michigan offense hasn't hit its ceiling yet. They've been holding back a bit, not really letting Underwood cut loose, and I believe that he has the ability to elevate this offense if they ever decide to trust him with it. I don't know if they're going to do that in this game, but even if they don't, there is another major factor in this game, and that's Justice Haynes. Michigan's most productive player might not be in this game. He was injured last week, and if he suits up, you don't even know how healthy he's going to be. even with all that uncertainty, I'm still taking Michigan. I think they'll do what they do best, slow the game down, control the tempo, limit Washington's possessions, and just out-physical that team. I know I said that same thing against USC before, and I was wrong then, but this time I think I'm going to be right. All right, moving on to the lightning round games. These are games that I don't want to get too in the weeds on, but still want to touch on, starting with Georgia Tech versus Duke. I think Georgia Tech is going to remain undefeated here. They are an incredibly tough team, and they just keep grinding out wins. This is another big test for them. Blue Devils are actually favored at home in this one, but I still trust the Yellow Jackets to pick up a win here. Missouri versus Auburn. It's Tiger versus Tiger. Missouri's already lost to one team in the state of Alabama. Now they have to go to Jordan-Hare and take on an Auburn team that basically has no offense to speak of. So I think the Tigers are going to have no problem controlling this game. And by Tigers, I mean Missouri. Now we have the Holy War, BYU versus Utah. BYU may be undefeated, and this may be a rivalry game, but Utah is going to win this one handedly. BYU has had a pretty cupcake schedule up to this point, and this is their first true test. But after seeing what Utah did to Arizona State last week, I do not think the Mormons stand a chance. Speaking of Arizona State, they are in for another beatdown this week when they play Texas Tech, who is by far the best team in that conference. I will continue to pick the Red Raiders until they give me a reason not to. I don't even think this one's going to be close. But that's all for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.